Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I hope everybody's doing well today. Today I'm going to try to make a thin strip maker for the table saw. I've been needing one for a long time and need it for some upcoming projects that I have. And as you can see, I just grabbed some scraps out of my scrap bin, and I want to see first what way I need to make my handle, because one of my first projects was a push stick and the handle was less than pretty and, well, not ideal. After deciding on the size I want my handle and saving y'all the pain of watching me cut it up with my miter saw, I let you see me trying to glue it up, which doesn't go as well as it should. But anyways, we eventually get it done and clamp it and move on to the next stage. Next we'll countersink a few holes in what I guess you would call the shoe of the thin strip maker, and that is simply so it doesn't scrape along the top of the table saw when you're making your strips. Then we will attach it to what I guess we'll call the top, and the top's kind of the permanent fixture, while the shoe can be replaced or added to or subtracted from depending on the size of boards that you will be using. I had to decide on what size I wanted the back plate, or the heel I guess you would call it. And as you can tell, a lot of careful consideration and high-speed engineering went into this process, but I knew I wanted it to be higher and I wanted it to stick out to the left past the blade more for protection, and as well as it's going to be a kind of, well, sacrificial, so it doesn't matter too much. But a lot of thought did go into this. Hopefully I got it right. And I simply attached the heel with the brad nailer because it is sacrificial, and also because I like using the brad nailer, making sure to leave a little bit of space in between the bottom and the side so it doesn't catch. Next, because as I said earlier, the handle on my push stick was so ugly, and also because I'm still not used to using my router that I recently got, I figured I would try to make my handle a little prettier and also a little more comfortable. Next is a simple matter of gluing the handle to the top, and I suppose if I'd wanted to, I could have screwed it into the top before I added the shoe, but I didn't really think that would be necessary. And I also, again, have to use my brad nailer whenever I get a chance. After it's all glued up and everything feels pretty solid, it is time to put some finish on it. So we'll just wipe it down with a little bit of BLO so that it looks halfway presentable for its picture, because it's not the prettiest thing, I have to admit. Since I know that the shoe of my jig is 3 1/4 inches, well, maybe I should call it the sole. Call the bottom the sole and the back the heel. Since the sole of my jig is 3 1/4 inches long, I cut my fence to as you can see here, I am pretty close to 1/4 inch, with the error being just in the accuracy of the size of the sole and also the distance away your fence is from the blade. Next, I moved the fence in 1/8 inch to make some 1/8 inch strips, and after some trial and error, I did come pretty close to being quite accurate on this as well. Again, with the error being and the distance the fence is away from the blade. The other thing I wanted to add about this model is that if you need to use different thicknesses of wood for the strips, you can add a 1/2 inch or another 3/4 inch or even a 1/4 inch sole or different variations of that to give whatever thickness of wood that you need to rip the strips from. Okay, in full disclosure, I did have some problems with making the 1/8 of an inch strips, and that was a problem of two factors. One was I was having a hard time getting my riving knife perfectly aligned with the blade. That is a product of having a cheap table saw. And also I was having problems getting my fence perfectly parallel to the blade and also the right distance away, which also is a product of having a cheap table saw and not a rack and pinion fence. But I'm sure that there are workarounds for that. And I actually removed the riving knife and I found a workaround for my fence later on in the evening when I wasn't filming. So just be aware of that. I had no troubles at all with the 1/4 inch strips, but the 1/8 of an inch did give me a slight problem. But that is a product of my tools and not the method. And finally, please let me know if you have any questions, comments, or complaints in the comments. Let me know what you think. Please try to be nice and like and subscribe if you haven't already and you want to. If you don't want to, I completely understand. And stay safe and don't forget to smile. Thank you for watching and goodbye.